I move to open the Marshfield Conservation Commission meeting of Wednesday, September 6th. May I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
As per usual, this is a hybrid meeting. We are live here. We are on Marshfield Television, and this meeting is being recorded. In the event of a technological problem, we will continue here, and you can access the rest of the meeting later. So, first up is business item 1, 192 Mill Pond Lane, hazard tree removal. Is Mr. Lucas here or on Zoom? Can you, can you come up and tell us?
It's okay to sit.
Yep, sure.
Hi, my name's Dave Lucas. I live at 192 Mill Pond Lane. Do you have the map and everything I sent in and the letter from the tree company? It seems like you do up there. Just want to make sure that you
put
guys.
it on the screen up here.
Okay, perfect. This all came about. There's several trees, either on my property, my neighbor's property, and then also in an easement that's in between all of our properties, which you can kind of see on the map there. Some of the trees started falling a couple years ago. One of them I'm at 192, and then the lot to the right is my neighbor. He had 2 or 3 of them actually fall on his property. One of them missing his house by about 6 inches. It hit his gutter and came off. But a lot of these trees are over 100 feet tall, and so I had the tree company come out. That's the letter they wrote. So I'm just asking that the board approves to have them removed.
So these trees are these trees on conservation land?
Most of them are. The issue is, the only thing I have to go by is kind of that map. So some of them are right on the borderline of like either my property, my neighbor's, or the easement. You can kind of see in there, the easement's like the size of the street almost. I don't know if you guys can see it on there, but yeah, right, exactly, right there. And a lot of them are, I mean, you could tell that a lot of them are definitely on that property, but then some of them might be in question. They might be on my neighbor's, or they might be on both because they're so big.
So did they give you any idea of how many trees are?
And again, we couldn't tell exactly how many until we had, somebody come out to kind of measure which are on our property, which are on the easement. But there are, I'd say, at least a dozen, if not more, that are on the easement.
Okay. So, Mike, do we need DPW to go there and?
Yes, I can put in a work order to the DPW.
And, okay.
Take a look at the trees. They'll go out and assess and see if it's if they can do the work.
Okay. If it's on trees that are on conservation property should be removed by DPW if they are
that's
truly,
fine.
Hazardous. But they will need to come out and look at it, and Mike, you will join them?
Yes, if possible.
Yeah.
Sometimes they go out and do their own assessments
Right.
on their own scheduling.
But hopefully, are they going to know where the line is?
Potentially.
Yeah. Maybe if you could, give them an appropriate
Right.
map or something.
Yes. I will
And they
include
will
the work order.
come back and tell us whether they will remove them or not.
Okay.
There is money budgeted for hazardous tree removal on conservation land when it's threatening a homeowner's property.
Okay.
So the next step, we will send DPW and wait to hear back from them,
Okay.
and then we will let you know what they tell us.
Okay. Excellent. Is that via email or that you guys will notify me, or should I just come to the next meeting? Or
No, we'll notify you. We'll either call you or email
Okay.
you. Yeah.
Perfect.
And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to call. I don't know how quickly. I don't know what their scheduling is like,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I can't
Somebody
say.
could just notify, just so I can. I'd like to be there just to show them
Sure.
where to go.
Absolutely.
Stuff like that. That'd be great.
Yeah, that makes sense. So Mike will set that up with DPW, and can you, ensure that He's notified? When
Yes.
they're going to be there?
Yes, I will include that on the work
The
order as well.
homeowner wants
with
to be
the
there
with the
to-
site plan
to
sheet
show you.
provided.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So we will go from here, and you'll hear from DPW. You can go through it with them, and then we'll see where we are.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, RTC and Jeff Wilson, the Carolina Hill Trail alterations.
He may not be making it tonight. He told me
not.
that he had a prior engagement and may not be able to
Okay.
attend.
I don't think he's out there, so we will table that. If he arrives, we'll go back. Business item 3 is the Green Harbor Marina, the bulkhead repair. And
Letter that just captured the email. Folks, my name is Tom Pazerski. I'm the Marine Division Director at Merrill Engineers, and we basically have come across a maintenance repair method that's much better and more efficient than the presently approved one. The old approval required us to set up the floating turbidity barrier. All the erosion control measures will be the same, to include the econosacs put underneath when they do the cleaning. The old method involved setting about 105 piles to repair the wall, securing them to the existing blocks, and then sliding in the concrete panels, securing them, putting the drainage filters in, and backfilling in. That particular process went 2.5 feet seaward. This new process is much easier, much cleaner, and it's environmentally sound, and it's much better for the bay and the harbor because we're not driving 105 piles into the ocean floor there. What it's going to involve is the same process of setting out the turbidity barrier, the econosacs, cleaning off the blocks, repairing the blocks, and then we're going to do what they call a shotcrete application. Now, this application has been used many, many times. It was used just recently on the North Shore on that restaurant that was falling in the harbor there. They repaired that. Safe Harbors has used this application up in Hull. It's a nice, quick, environmentally sound method. It's fiberglass rebar in the mesh that's doweled in. That doesn't rot. It's secured with epoxy into the blocks itself. They repair the blocks. They put the mesh up. They do the shotcrete application. It's a 4-inch thick application that's put in with construction joints put in every 10, 20 feet or so. So if it has movement, it'll break at the joint just like normal construction of concrete. And it's a plastic cement. It starts setting up about 5 minutes, and it's fairly cured in 1 hour. And it contains no adverse chemicals or chlorides that will cause corrosion. So it's a nice, quick method that's becoming very popular in the marine environment for repairs. So I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have.
I have a question about right in the center of the drawing. Portions of the wall are missing halfway down. What do you do with that?
Portions of the wall miss. If there's blocks that need replacing, the blocks will be replaced in kind.
Okay.
Okay? Yeah. Those are some of the damaged blocks. And they're not missing, they're deteriorated. There might be some blocks we need to shore up, replace, slide in a new block. But for the most part, I took and inspected that wall a couple weeks ago. It's mainly cleaning them off, repairing them with the same face of the existing face of the block wall. Then we can do the shotcrete application. The repaired blocks will have the actual rebar extended out of it to save time as they're going along. And then they'll make the application. And it's a nice looking stucco style finish, but it's thicker. It's a 4-inch thick application of plastic cement.
And I think you have discussed this with Dave Hill at DEP?
I have, and he's in support of it. You folks have the email. He's in support of it, and he's asked that you kindly reciprocate with him as well. I have the email right here if you want a paper copy of it. But you guys have it as well.
Do you have that, Mike?
I don't have a physical copy with me.
But you do have one.
Yes, I believe.
Yes.
So. Just double check.
Okay. Anybody else?
The cleaning process, is that just high-pressure wash with
Yep,
fresh
that's it.
water? Or
Yeah, wash.
no,
Yep,
no
that's it.
special chemicals or anything?
No. They might put a spray, hand spray some bleach on it to kill the mold or anything on it before they go through that, but that's about it.
I don't want to put you on the spot, but I see Rod Procaccino here. Do you have any comment on this?
Place, so we don't really entertain that process. It's a viable process to restore walls. It's super, they have very high strength. Not sure what they're looking for, but can be in excess of 5,000 psi, and so it works. I'm not sure. The intent of this is just to restore in kind, more or less. In other
Correct.
words, you're not going in elevation
No.
increasing. It's just more of a restoration.
No, and as part of that, we showed on the plans too, there's some areas where there's some undermining on the top blocks and the pavement, so we're gonna saw cut that out and put some kind of pervious drainage in there too to get rid of that settlement, to take care of that.
Okay. Okay, so Dave Hill wants to see our approval for the Chapter 91 license. Mm-hmm. Yep,
Yep.
will do.
And he's already told us to go to Mylar, which we did, and we sent it to him, so,
Okay, thank you.
yep.
Anybody else? I think this looks absolutely fine.
Thank you.
Do we need a vote? It's a business item?
Under a business item.
Our intent is just to have that as accepted as the plan of record.
Yeah, plan of record
Yep.
for maintenance on the wall.
Okay.
I would say you are good to go, and we will communicate with DEP.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, have a good night.
You too. All right. We have someone who is interested in potentially joining the commission. Mr. Hackett, do you want to come up to the table? Yep. Mr. Hackett was in here a month or so ago and had a bench in the marsh in front of his house, and we told him that was a no-go, and he was very cooperative. He removed the bench, and have you heard anything from the yacht club?
No, I was waiting for Mike to set up a meeting with
Okay.
Right.
the Commodore.
Okay.
and
Yep.
me.
So, you want to tell us why you want to be on this commission?
Well, so back in March, I did submit an application to do so. So I just wanted everyone to be aware that what occurred 5 weeks ago has nothing to do with my desire to be on the commission. So I did apply then, and I've been actively involved in a lot of businesses and town resources to just put me in a position to go to next level where I have great interest in, and that's the environment. And it's not just a matter of looking at it and being nice about it, but I'd like to get into the detail, understand it better, and to work to make compliances workable for everybody involved. So my background is in engineering. I worked for Stone & Webster Engineering and on nuclear power plants, and I told Craig and Mike that I was a liaison between the utilities and the Nuclear Regulatory Commission in Washington, D.C. Through my association with Stone & Webster. So I'm familiar with regulatory paperwork, et cetera, et cetera. And I just have a high interest, as I mentioned. And I have an educational background. I taught for a number of years. left education, became an engineer, and here I am sitting here many years later, continuing interest in the town. I worked on the Waterways Commission, and I worked on the Beach Commission in town here. So this is the next step that I think would be helpful to me and to the commission and the town.
Anybody have any questions for Joe?
You've been to a few meetings, so you know the work involved in it, right?
Yes, yes, yep. And I've been watching you. For some reason I didn't get my Zoom correct, but I've been watching you as an unknown image for the last several meetings since my presentation here.
So Mike and I have explained the workload, and obviously Mr. Hackett has some familiarity with regulatory procedures, so he gets that part of it, that we don't always like the decisions we make, but we don't get to pick. So if no one has any further questions or comments, we will decide whether to recommend you to the select board, and then you will go before them and speak to them. So I will put that process in motion.
Awesome, appreciate it. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that concludes the business items. Before I start the public hearings, I'm going to do the continuations because there may be people here for 0 Assumption Road, which will not be heard tonight. That will be continued. So, scheduled continued hearings are request for determination number 2321, 0 Assumption Road. This will be continued. I move that this be continued to September 20th. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 0 Main Street, ANRAD. Do we have a number on that, Mike?
Yes.
3056.
3056, SE 42 3056.
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you, Bert. I move that we continue until September 20th. May I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 3 South Street, SE 42 3051. I move to continue to September 20th. Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. SE 42 3015, 60 Foster Ave. I move to continue to 9/20. A second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And RDA 2312, 172 South River Shoulder Improvement. I move to continue to September 20th. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So our first hearing is 23 Richard Street. The hearing officer is Susan. This is a new hearing. I will read the legal ad. In compliance with the regulations of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Code of the Town of Marshfield, Chapter 294, Wetlands Protection, a hearing will be held by the Marshfield Conservation Commission on Wednesday, September 6th, to consider the notice of intent filed by Thomas and Lisa McDonough. And Commissioner Karen?
So this is a hearing for a demolition and a rebuild of a single-family home and elevating it on driven wooden piles on Barrier Beach, coastal dune, land subject to coastal storm flowage, and VE 13. I can confirm taxes and fees have been paid, administrative requirements have been met. And I know they do still need a floodplain permit. Rick, do you want to go?
Yes,
there?
absolutely. Good evening. Rick Savant with Stenbeck and Taylor. That floodplain permit has been submitted recently. I don't believe Andrew's had a chance to review it just yet. So that being said, we have an existing cottage here that the homeowners are proposing to demolish and construct a new flood-compliant home on driven wooden piles. We do have a little, we've noted the resource areas. We're in a velocity zone in a VE 13, barrier beach. The new home, as I said, will be about 7.5 feet off the ground on these wood piles. Very nice open surface underneath. There's nothing proposed below, an enclosure or anything like that. It's going to be left pervious. So we do have a 1,000 square foot increase in roof area or impervious coverage on the lot, but we're creating about 2,000 square feet under the structure that is currently just a crawl space and a cinder block foundation on the house now. So we are improving the pervious nature of the lot for flood control. They just going to be reconnecting the existing utilities that are there. It's going to be elevated higher than the requirement, but they're looking to maybe possibly park under the structure with vehicles once it's up there. So it's essentially what they're hoping to do is just build a new flood compliant home, and that's pretty much it.
I just have one question before we have other commissioner comments. The narrative does say 77.5 feet above the grade level.
Yes.
But on the plans, the site plan says 20 feet above the top of the pile, the wood pile. So I'm just,
Okay,
in the
so-
VE 13, so just, could you explain that?
Yeah, absolutely. So that 20 feet is the elevation of the top of the pile. So
But it's
that's
but the
20
grade-
feet above mean sea level. The ground level there averages from 12.5 to 13. I averaged it out. It's about 7.5 feet above the ground surface.
Okay, great.
The piles will be at elevation 20. In a VE 13, you're required to have the piles at 2 feet above the 13, so they're required to be at 15.
Right.
And they're going to exceed that just to possibly get some parking under the structure. But that 20 is 20 feet above sea level.
Right, okay. I assumed that, but I just want to
Right,
be sure. And
yeah.
we'll get an elevation certificate will be
Yes,
required.
sure.
Okay.
Yes.
Great. That was my main question. Commissioner comments, any questions, concerns?
Seems good.
And everything under the house is going to be left as pervious surface?
Yep. Everything is to remain pervious. There's nothing proposed under there enclosure-wise or anything. It's going to be open piles under there and the natural surfaces there, sand and whatnot.
On that note, could I ask a question as well? The site plan doesn't indicate any driveways or add additional pavement or
That's
pervious.
correct.
So it will all be erodible surface outside of the house perimeter?
That's correct. There isn't any paved driveway or parking now. They just park on the grass in front of the home. There is enough room to pull off the road, but they're not proposing any other surfaces. They're going to keep it the way it is.
That would be my only concern with that. Mike, do you have questions or concerns?
I would just add that going forward, if they did decide to put a walkway or something into the house, they would need to come and let us know.
Sure, of course.
Mike,
I have
comments?
no further comments regarding the property itself. I would suggest the general special conditions, the B5, B2, C11, D, and F1 special conditions, as well as require an elevation certificate.
Okay, great. And that erosion control isn't part of that
Yep.
as well? Okay, great.
Yes, that one is special condition F1.
Okay, great. Is there anybody on Zoom or from the public that has any questions, comments? Well, seeing none, then I will make a motion to close and issue an order of conditions with standard special conditions. May I have a second?
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Next, we have another new hearing. 22 Kearsarge Road, in compliance with the regulations of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Code of the Town of Marshfield, Chapter 294, Wetlands Protection. A public hearing will be held by the Marshfield Conservation Commission on Wednesday, September 6th to consider the notice of intent filed by Michael and Camille Long, and the hearing officer is Commissioner John O'Donnell.
Thank you. How you doing?
I'm Ethan Reed. I'm the contractor.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's just a package the whole order made.
Yes. You can see some stuff that's going on.
I know we're sharing it.
Yeah. Michael, are we all set with taxes, fees, utilities,
Yes, we are.
and
Just sharing.
butter notifications?
Butter notifications have been met.
All set, okay. So this is a pretty straightforward, adding a deck off the back of the house.
Yeah.
There's a doorway, there's no deck there now.
No, there was a previous deck before they redid the siding.
But there's no deck there now.
Right, pre-existing now.
Yeah,
no.
there's stairwells down from the door.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
like temp stairs there.
Okay. Yeah, so I went out to the site. Rick, why don't you want to give an overview of the project?
Sure. Essentially, that's just it. A new deck going out in the backyard. It's going to be on helical screws. The property is located in a A03 flood zone, so it'll be a little bit up off the ground. There was a concrete pad there, Ethan. I don't know if that pad is still there, but there previously was a concrete pad that was removed in the same area as this deck. So we're taking out that impervious surface that was there, because it might already be gone.
It might be gone, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, take a look.
And just a new deck out into the backyard on helical screws. That's
So
right.
how many screws?
There's gonna be 5 altogether.
5 altogether?
Yeah.
Okay. So I know Andrew had mentioned that he hadn't seen any building permit yet, so.
I was in the process, didn't know, I've never pulled a permit with.
Okay,
done
no, I
commission
just say,
stuff in the
so
town here,
so we get comments from Andrew, and then Andrew basically alerts us to any issues or
And
anything, and there were no issues, and he couldn't comment on a lot just because he hadn't
Yeah.
hadn't seen any floodplain permit yet, and he hadn't seen any construction
I
plan.
started the process, but I didn't know if I had to get yours first.
No,
through the-
I get you, I
Yeah.
get you. It's sort of, they work kind of simultaneous.
Okay, yeah, so
We'll
I
go
didn't
through
know.
and ask questions, which I think were good. We just want to know the helical piles.
Yep.
How high is it? Basically, it's going to be the same height as the doorway?
It's less than foot on, I think, the 4th page of that little handout there
Yeah.
is a picture of with the new ledger board already
Okay.
installed. I installed it because make sure the flashing was properly while he was doing the siding.
Okay.
So that we didn't have any leaks, but other than that, we're just waiting for this.
So, so basically a step down? from the
Yeah, it's a
floor
step
onto the
down.
deck.
Yeah, it's less than 4 feet.
Less than, it'll be only 4 feet, okay.
Yeah.
So, and the impervious numbers are basically the same? Pervious, impervious, so there's no change there, you're ripping up the concrete pad?
Yep.
So, yeah, so Andrew's notes were, he hadn't seen the construction plans yet, he was curious the number of footings, so you said there's 5 footings?
There's gonna be 5 here.
How high off the ground, somewhere, it doesn't,
It's
less-
gonna be
ar-
probably less than 2 feet, like 2.5 feet maybe,
And how is it gonna be attached to the house?
with the ledger board.
Ledger, okay.
Yeah,
All
it's
right.
already in.
So those are things
Yep.
that he would be interested in, those are the questions that he asked, so I think from that perspective, I think we're good. Michael, do you have any comments or thoughts on the project?
Yeah, I was on the property doing the site visit. I noticed that there appeared to be anywhere from like 1.5 to 3 inches of sand brought into the backyard. When I was on site, a neighbor inquired about the permissibility of bringing in sand to the site. So we'd just like to remind the homeowner that any fill, alteration, or removal will need conservation permitting.
Okay. So I don't know, are the owners here? Are they-
Yeah, they're in the.
Okay, okay, so I was I went out on my own visit, and I didn't notice it. And then, but Mike was out there, and he noticed the difference. I saw sand to sand, but I think
That
that's
is
just, so those are the issues the Conservation Commission are concerned about, in terms of the preservation.
Taking away or adding?
Pardon me?
Taking away or adding?
Adding, I guess.
Adding?
Yeah. So,
Adding sand to
do you have
sand.
any questions about that, or any comments about that, Mr. Long, or? I mean, was sand brought in, or?
Because there used to be a concrete patio there, because of triple passes and everything else. We had it removed, and because of hard pack because that was set over just almost 70 years ago, because of hard pack and the concrete shivs that were still around. We had to put something down, so we got washed sand,
Okay,
so that there wouldn't be any residue, powder residue from people walking in and our grandkids playing in it. So we had that brought in and put down.
okay. So I think you're okay, Mike? I guess what happened to you was neighbors came up and was asking some questions about
I
it.
wanted to make that aware of the, to the commission.
All right, so you don't see that in the future. It was a result of removing the existing patio. All right,
Rick's got the elevation contours on here, so if anything changes much, we'll know about it.
okay. Any other thoughts, comments, questions from,
I just wanted to add, you know, that what we're talking about the sand is you can't change the grade in
Okay.
coastal dunes, so that you don't want to, because that could affect the flood control for other properties.
Yeah.
So adding, when we, you know, in those areas, we don't add fill, sand, or anything without a conservation permit if you're going to be, you know, anything other than minor landscaping.
Okay.
If you would be changing the grade, so that's the issue.
So changing the grade, but if
Changing
you're
the
trying
grade
to,
and bringing in fill to an area like that, so.
okay.
It didn't change the grade whatsoever.
Yeah, it looked pretty, I was out there too,
Yeah,
and
it
it
looked-
looked like it wasn't a major amount.
okay. I, just in case anybody's on Zoom had any questions or comments? I don't see any
And,
questions or comments. Mike, special conditions or?
Yeah, I have a quick comment too. I don't have a plan in front of me. Rick, this is Barrier Beach, correct?
No.
No? Okay. Perfect. I just wanted to note that with the elevation above adjacent grade.
Yeah, no, actually, that was in Andrew's
Yep.
notes. I was wondering,
And then,
so it's not a barrier beach, but it's land subject to coastal.
So I would recommend the standard general conditions, the B5, B2, C11, and then the D and F1 for erosion control. If there's any questions about which condition is which, I'd be happy to provide them.
I just want to confirm, to have you started the floodplain permit?
Yeah, I did started everything online. I just haven't.
Okay.
I wasn't sure if I need this first, what the order is with everything. so.
Floodplain permit is kind of what allows tracking of everything that comes
Okay.
after it, so.
Okay.
But if you've done that online.
Yeah,
you're
I
all
started
set.
it online. I didn't
Yep.
go through the whole thing.
Okay, so then, there are no further comments. Then I recommend a vote, considering Mike's special conditions. So I'd like to vote to approve the project, go forward, vote on the issue, orders of condition. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I guess we're good to go.
Awesome.
So just work with, now you're basically working with Andrew.
Andrew's the building inspector.
Yeah,
Okay.
on the,
Finish off that floodplain permit.
Okay. Yeah, I started everything online. I just didn't know.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, man.
all right,
Good job.
Appreciate it.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is 70 Sawtucket Avenue. In compliance with the regulations of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Code of the Town of Marshfield, Chapter 294, Wetlands Protection, a public hearing will be held by the Marshfield Conservation Commission on Wednesday, September 6th, to consider the notice of intent filed by Norman and Marcia Wright, and the hearing officer is Vice Chair O'Donnell.
Thank you. You get that one, Rick?
Yes, we're all set.
You own the-
Yes, so,
Just to confirm,
yeah.
taxes, fees, and abutters, Mike?
The taxes, fees, and abutters have been met.
okay. So yes, it's another residential project, this property on Setauket, just off, just behind the Brant Rock Package Store, but back all the way, you know, at the back behind there, in that area. Abuts the wooded area out behind the airport, surrounding the airport. We have a BBW on site, which has been flagged, the buffer zones you can see on the plan. There's also a flood zone on the property. Portion of the property is in an AE9. Portion is outside of the flood zone also. We worked with, the applicant is proposing an addition to the rear of the house. There's an existing deck to the back currently. That will be coming down and a new addition put there and a new smaller deck. Worked closely with the architect and the homeowner to keep this proposed work outside of the flood area, which we've done. We're comfortably outside of it, outside the AE9, so we didn't want to deal with any flood compliance with the structure or bring the structure into the flood zone by doing so. So we've done that. This addition is going to be on some type of posts or piers. They're still working up the structural. It's not in a barrier beach or anything like that, but it may be on helical screws, it may be on sonotubes. I haven't seen the structural plans yet, but it will be. This is off the ground, this style of the home. I don't know if you've had a chance to get out there at all. But there's a walkout, kind of a walkout rear, and this is coming off the main living floor. So it's going to be up on posts overhead. They are proposing storage below. All of the work is within the 100-foot buffer to the BBW, which is why we're here tonight, of course. But that's really essentially it. They want to do a small addition and deck off the back of the home. And we did our best to keep it in compliance with all the resource areas that are out there.
Mike, would you like to comment on this?
Yep. As Rick said, it's in the area of the current deck, and then there essentially be that deck will become an addition, and then the new deck off of that. It's within the 75 to 100 foot buffer to wetlands, and yeah. That's it. For special conditions, I would suggest the general special conditions, A 1 through 18, B5, B2, C11, D, and F1 for erosion control.
Thank you. Yeah, the addition itself looks pretty straightforward. Any comments from commissioners?
I think this needs ZBA approval.
Yeah, that was in Andrew's notes.
It's
I'm sure you're aware
non-conforming.
of that, Rick.
I'll check with Andrew on that. I believe
That's
it's
coming from
compliant.
Andrew, I don't know.
The lot's not conforming.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, that's
But
between.
that's fine. Yeah,
That's
if it
between you
needs
and
zoning,
building.
we'll be there. Yep.
The only other thing I was wondering about is some conservation markers, that shed's kind of close to the wetlands.
It is.
Looks like it's been there a long time. I wouldn't propose moving that, but it'd be good to get a definition of what's there so we can hang on to it.
Sure. I don't think the homeowners would have an issue with that. And they're all about protecting this area also and living with it. It's something along the edge of the lawn. Thinking,
Yeah.
maybe two.
I wouldn't want to get into too many markers, maybe just either side of the lot line at approximately the 25. That sounds acceptable.
Yeah.
Well, maybe one where it kind of juts in closer.
So
Maybe one kind of in that area behind the shed.
So make it 3.
Okay. So, yeah. Follow you where it juts in closer where that corner of the lawn is. You can see where
Yeah.
we have that dash line. We
Yeah.
can set one there at the edge of the lawn.
Because if there's one on both sides, it would be tempting to think that was a straight line across there.
And then the 25 against the existing fence to the right of the shed, or do you want to go behind the shed?
I think behind,
25 sweeps in front of the shed, on the house side of the shed, and then it intersects that stockade fence
Yeah,
that's
I'd
over
say
there.
close to where the 25 is and the lot line.
Okay.
And the same thing on the other side of the lot.
Yep.
I guess the west side, south side.
Yeah. Yep.
Good.
Yeah, I think that's more than fair.
In that case, I'd like to make a motion to close the hearing on, what special, did you already list the special conditions, Michael?
Yes.
Yeah,
And then adding 1 for 3 conservation markers.
yes.
Yes.
And you could just put those on the plan and give it to Mike.
Sure. Yep.
When do you think we could get that, Rick?
I'm used to noon time on Friday is what I was always.
Perfect.
What we always did, right?
Sounds good.
I'll get it there by sundown.
So, motion to close the hearing and issue special conditions. Have I got a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you very much. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rick.
Okay, next up is Ocean Street Row. In compliance with the regulations of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Code of the Town of Marshfield, Chapter 294, Wetlands Protection, a public hearing will be held by the Marshfield Conservation Commission on Wednesday, September 6th, to consider the notice of intent filed by Thomas Reynolds, Marshfield Department of Public Works, and the hearing officer is Vice Chair O'Donnell.
Thank you. So, Mike, no taxes, but this is town land.
Yep.
So,
Abutters have been met.
and DEP,
Yep.
very good. You gonna
Okay.
present, Rod, or?
I will just introduce Ryan Paul from Environmental Partners Group. We've been working with Environmental Partners for over a year now on this section here.
So, Rick.
This will include all of the work that we propose in the area, kind of in a three-phase approach. You can see A, B, and C there. And we're going to town meeting to get funding to actually construct the southernmost portion, which is Section A, the bullnose. And with that, I'll leave it to Ryan.
Thank you. Good evening. Again, I'm Ryan Paul with Environmental Partners. So I'll just go over the project really quick. Like Rod mentioned, the easterly side of the site, north is pretty much on this plan that you can see now. And that Section A view, that is the first phase, and it is a phased project, and we are presenting the entire project to you tonight. This first phase includes what we're calling this bullnose. This is a traffic calming and traffic safety type feature. So we're trying to, in this area of Brant Rock on Ocean Street, try and create some traffic calming features, try and create some better sight lines with traffic, create bicycle lanes with markings, and basically replace the pedestrian sidewalks that are there now. They're a little undersized. They need to be beefed up a little to bring them up to a typical Mass DOT type code. So that's generally the objective of the project. As we go from right to left, the middle section is pretty straightforward. It's one lane in each direction. Ocean Street flows to the right, the east, and the bottom of Ocean Street does, and to the south, and the top, which would be the northern part of Ocean Street, flows to the west. And there are additional, as we get into the intersection with Dyke Road, that part is also being, it's basically a new feature, a new traffic feature that includes some better sight lines for vehicles, and so they can see oncoming traffic, and better pedestrian and bicycle access. So connectivity with pedestrians and bicycles is also a big part of this as well. So as far as the resource areas that we're within with this project, we're within a coastal storm flow, land subject to coastal storm flow. That's basically the whole area of Brant Rock. We're basically with this, we're between contours 6 feet and 9 feet. That's where we'll generally still be for the most part, and we're just increasing some areas to beef up some areas of sidewalk. It is a big area, so the area starts to add up in terms of a little bit of fill. But our interpretation of the resource areas and land subject to coastal flooding, there are not any compensatory storage requirement in this area. Also, we did say in our NOI that we're submitting this as a limited project, as a roadway improvement, and minor drainage improvements as well. Do you have the other figure in the plan?
Yeah, I have a few old plans on here.
Thank you. So this is up to basically South Street here. We're in a couple areas besides the coastal storm flowage. We're in the overlay of a barrier beach, is really the big one that we see. And then we're in a small buffer zone of a salt marsh to the south, which is highlighted in the blue or cayenne. And the purple up top is a barrier beach buffer zone. So our interpretation of the coastal, the barrier beach, as it lies in GIS, is this is already all paved. So there really isn't a ton of value in the interpretation of what we're seeing in the language is, it has to be kind of a sandy type feature or something that's softer. It's not really, barrier beach didn't, it makes sense to call it, but we called it out anyway in the NOI, just so you are aware that it was an overlay that was in there. We understand that it's completely up to the commission to make that interpretation. Let's see, what else do we have? We are, in terms of stormwater, we are making some minor modifications to the drainage system just to move some catch basins around, replace some catch basins with deep sump catch basins. So we're adding a little bit of treatment, but we're not modifying, we are modifying some pipe runs, but we're not changing the size of the pipes. And doing this project, we're actually shrinking the footprint of the impervious area by 8,200 feet over the entire site. So we are getting a little bit of value back there in terms of a little bit of green space. Yeah, I think that pretty much covers this page. This is the first phase. Like I said, as you move down to the next sheet, there's no other resource areas that I haven't talked about. We're showing some that are way to the south as far as buffer zones, but they're still another 50 feet away. And in this portion of the site, we're doing mostly paving work here and tightening up the roadway. And it does include the new sidewalks, it includes bike lanes, it includes revamping some of the parking areas to make everything flow a little bit better. Next page, please. And this would be the last phase. We are barely in a little bit of buffer zone here, I think about barrier beach. And again, it's just kind of revamping some of this area. And this area, I think this is where we're mostly taking away from some of the pavement in the section in the middle where Ocean Street kind of splits off in the two directions there. So you're seeing some value there as far as adding a little bit of green space. And again, some minor drainage changes just to make that connectivity with the drainage, trying to move things out of people's driveways, trying to just move the catch basins where they make more sense to go. That's my summary. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mike, your comments?
Yes. It would notably there would be a lot of safety improvements associated with this project, and the impervious calculations would decrease, and also the stormwater would increase for the amount of impervious decreasing.
Okay. The comment about the barrier beach, we've had other projects in that area you know, where we have determined it's barrier beach. I don't think it needs to affect the design of the project at all. It's all area that's already been disturbed and already been paved, but I just like to get agreement with the commission that is a barrier beach area. Um, I think you can go either way with that. I think I just want to make note of that when we have other projects in front of us in that area.
Makes sense, yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I believe we did list it as barrier beach, just because it is there. It is, you know. and-
As far as the stormwater, I understand locations of catch basins and everything is gonna change, but that's all within the road layout.
Correct.
I'm not sure, I'm sure Rod's very familiar with it, but where does that area, where does the stormwater drain to? Does it go out into the marsh there?
It does.
Two outlets.
And that's just staying existing?
Yep.
So no changes to that?
No.
So it'll just be improved catch basins, so if you have any kind of spills or anything, it'd be a little better.
Yep, we plan on putting in some, we're gonna upgrade the catch basins to deep some catch basins, plus put in some, of the bags in the catch basins as well.
So that's all good until they're flooded.
True, you have to take them out when when you expect a big rainstorm. Otherwise, the area just gets messy.
And, you know, there's a lot going on in these drawings, but as far, the bullnose on the Island Street end, and then the sidewalks on the beach side, that's the biggest part of these improvements, isn't it?
Yeah, I would say so. It's definitely, the bullnose is probably the largest feature, and then, yeah, the sidewalks on both sides, revamping the sidewalks on either side.
And where that's typically an area where a lot of the floodwater comes over, if that bullnose is raised a little bit, is that gonna increase the velocity of the water when it comes through there? Is it?
I don't think so. I don't think so. Without doing extremely high-level modeling, some things that you would have to do through, usually people do through grant opportunities and stuff for ocean.
How high is that? About 12 inches?
The what?
The bullnose? You know,
It's gonna be drivable, so that
Yeah.
the trucks can, I mean, the trucks can't make that curve. They have to mount that rubble strip or whatever it's gonna be. I think it's, depends on our budget, I guess, what we end up with, but some sort of a drivable, either a stamped concrete or something along that line. So it will have some texture to it, so, you know, if you do have overflow, it would slow it down to some extent. But, you know,
But it's
the way
a
it
little
floods
bit of a.
over there, I
it's
don't know.
a little bit of a rise, isn't it, though?
Yeah, it's raised up. a
It's
little
raised
bit.
up a little bit, you know, so normal traffic won't have to because they can make the radius, whereas the trucks won't, and they'll just mount that and.
Yeah, so in terms of storm flowage, it is in an AE zone, which is not considered a velocity zone compared to the FEMA regulated areas just out there. I believe it's an AO zone, which is a velocity. I might have that wrong, but that's my guess on it without looking. So I think the way it's actually mapped right now is mapped as basically a more of a ponded area in the AE zone versus the wave action area. I don't know if that answers your question that you're looking for as far as velocity of stormwater, but there is, you know, the stormwater is going to be in a 100-year storm 3 feet above this area. There's just
So a
It's a
foot
tough
isn't-
area.
A foot isn't gonna matter much.
It's a tough area, yeah. And we're talking that a foot in that area. Overall, we're only looking maybe along the sidewalks, raising a couple inches throughout the entire project. Maybe it's more in some areas, less in areas, but if you average it out, it's not, we're not like raising everything 12 inches. You know?
Well, no, I know there's a strong desire to get those sidewalks done. People have been asking for that for years. I'd like to open it up to other commissioners, comments?
Where is the green space? So you were saying that you're gonna be adding more green space, but mostly down like where the church is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Down that
there's,
end where
yeah,
the-
there's some down there.
So nothing around where the
Oh,
bullnose
that's
is?
green. The bullnose is a good portion.
Yep, in the bullnose, exactly, yep. In the bullnose area in the middle,
Okay.
there's a little bit there. And then we're shrinking some of the footprint in some areas throughout the project, so you get a little added on the edges of your roadway. And it's just the cumulative over the whole project.
Yeah, over the whole project. I was just curious.
Yeah, the two big areas I would say are probably in the both sides, both ends of the project, and maybe a little bit of the strip in the middle as well. Is
Yeah.
a little bit there. Yeah.
Outside of the bullnose, going down Island Street and up Ocean Street, there's two little islands those little traffic islands there.
Oh, yeah.
Will they be plantable or?
Let's see.
Pervious or whatever?
It's green that actually shows them.
Is there one that
Remember-
shows
yeah.
a scent?
Oh.
I know, there's so
I
many.
found it.
Oh,
Once
yeah,
I did
no,
break
you're
with
right,
me.
I did see that.
Oh, really?
Oh, right. You're talking about the crossing. Those are the platforms for the pedestrian crossings.
Pedestrian crossings, okay.
Yeah.
Refuge area. Put a walkway.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think these. Let me see. Make sure here.
Yeah, no, you're right, I do remember seeing it, but
I'm not sure if they
There we
would be
go.
plantable or not. Let me just double check here.
yeah, I was just curious what they actually were.
It's proposed as concrete over there.
Okay.
Yeah.
For a reason?
I think part of it is I didn't put in these features myself. I don't have the exact answer for you,
Okay.
but I think it's because of the traffic in the area, and these are pretty small little islands.
Okay.
And I think it's just for traffic reasons if somebody ran over them or anything
Sight.
like that. In sight as well, yeah. As far as putting like a little green space in there.
Sometimes they take over those islands and you just can't see.
Yeah.
It's tough
yeah,
to me.
I know,
Happens
yeah.
all over town.
Anything else? In that case, I'd like to open it up for any public comments. Anybody here? Yes, sir, please identify yourself.
Yeah, hi, Scott Dixon, 82 Ocean Street, a citizen of Grant Rock. I'm also the president of the original Grant Rock Village Association, kind of a neighborhood association. And, we're strongly in support of this project. We work closely with Rod and Tom Reynolds and Environmental Partners Group. And, we think it's going to add tremendously to the safety of navigating through the Esplanade, whether you're in a car, and slow traffic down a little bit, which is a good thing during the summer in particular. It'll add safety for pedestrians as well as bicyclists. So we're strongly in support.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else? I didn't see anybody other than Liz on Zoom. Is there anybody? I don't think there's anybody there.
I don't see anybody. Let me just check the chat.
What would you suggest for conditions, Mike?
I would suggest the general conditions A1 through 18, D5, B2, C11, D, F1, and G5. And then I would also like to see if Nanette had any comments. I know you were trying to put in a pervious paver walkway. I don't know if you had that conversation between DPW or
Hi, everyone. Annette Graziani, 72 Island Street. We are working to do a fundraiser with some bricks in the existing green space, in the Esplanade between the Christmas tree box there and the American flagpole. So today I submitted a drawing. I have a building permit in the works. I've been working a little bit with Rod and Mike and Andrew. So it's just a process, but we're hoping to put some brick hardscape in. I'm also working with Ryan Frasca, so he's aware of what materials need to be used under the bricks and whatnot. So I guess what we'll do, according to Rod, is sit tight, which I'm not good at sitting tight, but wait until we get order of conditions, I believe, for the bungalows.
I guess that's up to the commission.
Oh, okay.
But, I mean, that's what we had
discussed.
discussed with the staff.
Yeah, so we're kind of waiting to see how this bullnose goes through. And our plan won't impact the bullnose area, the phase one. It's just more to add more usable space in the green space for people with benches, plantings, and then these bricks. So that's about.
So what,
Any questions?
I drive past there all the time, but I'm not really, what surface is that now? Where the bricks would go, is that grass or is it?
So, where the existing big grass spaces, there's
Yeah.
the pergola and then some benches. It would be further south in that green space. It would be approximately, we applied for 600 square feet, but our intent is to start smaller and already have the permitted space as we sell the bricks. And
There's an anchor, excuse me.
there's an anchor
out
there
there,
now.
a rusty anchor.
Got you.
So the patio would surround the rusty.
Yeah.
Yes, and we take down, it's kind of overgrown, so we want to clean it up, make it more usable for people, and also use it as a fundraiser to improve the area overall.
Okay, plan on pervious pavers, that ought to be fine.
Yes, so Frasca Landscaping has advised us on the materials with the stone. I don't know the exact thing, I'm not a landscaper, but he's aware of what's needed. And I spoke with Andrew this morning and Liz, so we're in tune to what has to be done.
I think, did Frasca do the surface under the bench by the church?
Yes.
He did, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as long as he is aware of,
Yeah.
Yes, we will reach out to him.
yeah.
Thank you.
So, is this really involved in this project at all, or is this just something else?
I think it would be something else that would come forward after this, but before this discussion, it was unclear whether or not it'd be rolled into this actual permit. So, we can do the permitting for the walkway later.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be a problem, but we just need details. So, I'd like to make a motion to close the hearing and issue special conditions. Have I got a second?
Second.
Second, Susan. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
Okay. Next up, we have 128 Highland Street. Now, is this gonna, do we need to continue?
This is they want to have the meeting. I'm unsure if Dana is here, but he would like to continue with the meeting tonight.
Okay. So I didn't continue that when I did continue. So I move that we continue RDA 2320 of 128 Highland Street
correct.
to,
He'd like to
like-
open up the meeting tonight.
oh, he
Yeah.
wants to, okay,
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I
I'm not
thought you
sure if
said
he's here,
continue.
but
Well,
we had
you
to.
did say continue.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. That's
Continue with the hearing.
completely my bad then.
Go forward.
Go
Move
forward.
forward. Yes.
Exactly.
So that is Vice Chair O'Donnell again.
Okay, thank you. Mike, what are we looking at here?
So this is the site plan provided by Mr. Junior, and these orange squares here that I marked up represented conservation markers at which Dana, Mr. Junior, agreed to those placements there. They're roughly on the 50-foot setback. I took out a scale and scaled them out, and as you can see, there's 2 up here and then 2 over here by the rear of the property.
I think we need to do at least 1 or 2 more to get around the buildings.
I agree.
Okay.
And, I mean, could
It's
we,
not
could we
the.
see those on a clearer plan?
Yes, I can. There was another site plan that we had on file from a previous project. I think it was through the planning department or
That's
something.
sort of
Yeah.
nebulous.
This was the plan provided by the applicant, so that's what we did the markup on. But
Okay.
yes, we can definitely put that on a clearer site plan for the commission. So there'll be 6 total markers, and then have the site plan revised to show them.
Are you able to
Next
bring
meeting.
that up now, or the other plan?
I can see if it's on our Google Drive. If it is, then I will.
It was before.
Yeah, it should be. Yes. So here's the wetland line. This is the 75, this is the 100. So the 50 would be roughly here. I would have to scale it out on a paper copy
Yeah.
to get the
Oh,
exact.
So there's existing buildings and existing lawn there, so I think we need to swing it a little closer to the wetland just to give them, you know.
Around the edge of lawn.
Yeah. But then as soon as you get away from the buildings, take it back to the 50.
Okay. Understood.
I think that's what
So to clarify, around the house and the stable there, they would be around the edge of lawn. Further away, they would be at the 50-yard setback. I mean, the 50-foot setback. It's 6 total markers. Right now there are 4.
I think 6. And, you know, on this plan, so that,
And I hate to drag this out one more
Also-
time.
Yeah, I know,
Maybe
but-
Mike should get these plotted. We'll take a look at it next year.
Something very much worth mentioning. I had spoken to Dana a couple hours ago. He got the permit from Board of Health and installed the septic system. So this is more of after a fact project now. My apologies. I meant to bring that up at the beginning of this hearing.
I saw a lot of trucks there last week.
Well, let's get those markers on there. And
Yeah.
next hearing, we'll take a look at it. We'll vote on it. And,
Perfect.
Make some condition to have Mr. Junior get those in.
Yeah, Dana seemed to have no issue with putting in the markers.
that case, I'd like to make a motion to continue this hearing until the next,
September 20th.
September 20th. I got a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That was Jesse seconded, Mike?
Yes.
Perfect.
Okay. 146 Dakota Street. Is there anyone here for this?
We reached out to the applicant's representative. It sounded like he tentatively wanted to be on this meeting. We were awaiting site plans, which we didn't receive. So that's why it's still on here.
Okay, in that case, I move to continue this SE 423024 to September 20th. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And now we have SE 422975 amended, 160 Bay Avenue. And this is a continued hearing, and Commissioner O'Donnell is the hearing officer.
Okay. Is anyone here to speak to this project?
Yep.
Here came with the plans to show. I'm Paul Lauterback from Merrill Engineers, land surveyors. I'm working with Ralph on this. We had come originally on 7-5 with the wood, the 3-foot wood walkway, and then he had an existing wood patio in the back that he wanted to replace in kind. He finally was going back and forth on what he wanted to do, because you guys didn't want you wanted the wood walkway elevated and the patio, the wooden patio elevated as well. So, and you said the other option was pervious pavers.
Yep.
We decided he wants to go with pervious pavers. A 3-foot pervious paver, top and bottom, and then pervious paver patio in the back there. So we revised the plans to show proposed 3-foot wide pervious paver walk and base per manufacturer specification installation requirements. He just wants the okay to go ahead and get that work started.
Okay, so what was in front of us, you're correct, which is the HVAC, raising the HVAC and the generator has been done. That's okay.
Yeah, you gave him the okay. I'm
On
not
that.
completely sure if he's done it
And
yet.
then, yeah,
I think
and
he's
then the
either in
question
the
was,
process or
like, as you said, wooden walkways and wooden deck would have to be raised.
Yeah.
And the decision was, let's not do that.
Yep.
So now the new plan is consistent with our recommendations and Andrew's recommendations that you use pervious pavers, so that's what the plan shows. There was a partially, and I think now completed, wooden deck that's going to be removed, right? Is that on the?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Either he has removed it and he's getting ready to put the pavers.
So he already has taken, because
I'm
I
not
know
sure if
when we were there on the site visit, it was partially, it was under construction.
Yeah.
The back wooden deck.
Either it's gone or he will have it
gone.
removed when he puts the pavers
To
in.
do this, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I think those are consistent, that's what we're here to focus on. The walkway, the deck, and as we said, the HVAC and the generator was done, so. I don't have any questions. Anybody on the commission have any questions?
Got it.
Mike, do you have any observations or?
The
Question?
proposed walkways will be pervious.
Okay. We don't need to know what types of pavers are going to be used, it just,
As long as the pavers are pervious or there is adequate spacing between the pavers to allow for flowage of water, then that will be acceptable. But the main principle is that the subsurface under the pavers have to be pervious as well.
okay.
Yeah, and he's aware of that.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think he said he has ordered some 12-inch by 12-inch pavers, and the gaps between them have special specifications to allow the water to run through.
Yep.
And the
Okay,
material
I know he's been
is
working
pervious
closely
and sand.
with Andrew on this, so I think
Yeah.
we're all good there, so. Mike, any special conditions?
Yes, I would suggest the general conditions, A1 through 18, B5, B2, C11, and condition D.
Okay. I don't think there's anyone on Zoom that about this project, so. All right, so if there are no further comments, then I'd like to recommend a vote with the special conditions that Mike just mentioned. So I'd like to make a motion to close the hearing and conduct a vote to issue the orders of condition. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. We're good?
All right,
Thank you.
very good, thank you.
Thank
you.
you. Okay, that concludes the public hearings. Now we have certificates of compliance. The first is SE 422923, 162 Bay Avenue. And it looks like we have some issues remaining here. So I move to table SE 422923. May I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. SE 422980, 94 and 96 Marginal Street rear. This appears to be fine. I move that we vote to issue a certificate of completion. May I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
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 SE 421352, 14 Brighton Street. This is to close out an old set of orders. An as-built site, there is no as-built. The applicant has requested a waiver. The addition is for a small utility room. What,
So from what we could tell, there was the special condition that was issued with this order, I believe it was from the 80s or 90s, that the addition may be existing floor level or above and shall have a foundation wall openings below the floor to allow for the inflow of water at the time of flooding. The space below the first floor shall be only a crawl space with a maximum height of 3 feet 10 inches. Space shall be the maximum clearance between the bottom of the first floor joist and finished crawl space floor. So upon our site visit, it's on sonotubes, so there's no crawl space, there's no finished crawl space, and there's certainly enough room for the inflow of water. And it appeared that addition was a small addition for like utility laundry room. It appeared that it was constructed to the first floor level. It was level with the main door and also the door into the addition. So it comes down to the commission's decision to waive the as-built
as-built?
site plan.
and this was built in, like, 40 years ago?
I believe it was built in the 80s or the 90s. Judging from the DEP number, it's quite old. We're on
Yeah.
3,060
3,000
right now.
now, yeah.
So does that plot plan represent what's there?
Yes, this is the proposed addition here. You can't really see it too well, but it's this 6.5 by 12.7.
And that's what was done?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That works as a site plan?
Yeah, I think so.
Or an as-built?
Works for me. All right, I move that we vote to issue a certificate of completion for SE 421352. May I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And SE 421564, 76 Winslow Cemetery Road. All right, I move that we vote to issue a certificate of completion. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That concludes our business. I move to close the meeting of the Marshfield Conservation Commission of September 6th, 2023. May I have a second?
Second?
All in favor? Aye. We are adjourned.